If you are experiencing foundation issues, get a free estimate from Ox Foundations.
And welcome back to Daybreak Live. Our Coach's Corner continues, brought to you by the All Sports Athletic Booster Club over at B.B. Comer. Adam Fossett, the head football coach and athletic director at BBC, joins us this morning. And Coach, let me say right off the top, I erroneously have reported the last day or two that B.B. Comer with a win tonight and then get some help from Randolph County, you could be the number 4 seed. You're telling me this morning you just busted my bubble.
Yes, so there's a little more to it than that. We need to win tonight. Randolph County needs to beat Pleasant Valley tonight, and then we have to win out, and Pleasant Valley has to lose out. So we play Weaver tonight. We've got Fayetteville week 10 at home.
I like the previous plan
better. I do too. I'd like to know for sure, but and then Pleasant Valley's got Randolph County left and Ohatchee. And Ohatchee is, I think they're like number 3 and number 3 in the state in 2A. They're 8-0, and so all are possibilities. Yeah. It's we're in week 9 and we're talking about having a chance at being a 4 seed in the playoffs, and that means a lot to us as a program and a lot to our kids and things like that.
Well, all the eyes are going to be on B.B. Comer and Pleasant Valley the last 2 weeks in.
Yeah.
Not a good start for the Tigers last week, and if you ever needed a good start against a, that's close to an SEC team right there. You needed it.
Piedmont is they're number 1 in the state for a reason. And we didn't need to help them out in any way, shape, form, or fashion, and we helped them out every way we could. And it was ugly from the start, and it was when you give up 19 points in 3 minutes, it's tough. And from a coaching standpoint to a playing standpoint to across the board. And I told our guys at halftime, we didn't yell and scream, we didn't I just told them, we created this mess, and we're going to have to go back out and finish this mess in the second half and move on from it. And that's what we've done. It's one of those deals where you can speculate. Well, we were still pumped up about beating Pleasant Valley and didn't prepare well, or somebody told me, hey, your kids were somebody told them early they couldn't win. And I was like, well, it wasn't anybody on the coaching staff that told them they couldn't win. So it's one of those ordeals where we learn from it and we move on. I kind of jokingly said, everybody picked the same night to have a bad night. So if that's the case, then we got it all out of the way and we can finish out the season and play well. So.
Looking back at the tape, and we did the game live last week on the opening kickoff, I'm not sure if Tiger defender ever got a hand at all on the kick return.
He still hasn't been touched. So, and that's something that we've addressed. And one thing, we're playing better defensively, we're playing better offensively overall. If you look at a season total. Playing better, but special teams are not where they need to be, and special teams are dying off basically because guys like me and my staff, we believe, hey, special teams are important. You can't start a game without special teams, and you have some programs that probably don't spend as much time on special teams, but and then you have some programs that spend a lot of time on special teams. We cover special teams every week. We go over it. We're moving people in and out to find the best fit and things like that. So it's frustrating as a head coach and for my staff that we have these special team woes. And that's something that we addressed heavy all week was special teams. We've got to do a better job in special teams, and it's simple stuff that you may not, somebody just watching football may not think about, but if the other team punts to us, we got to have somebody that will field the punt. You don't have to return it; you can fair catch it. But in Pleasant Valley, their punter always got a good roll, so we didn't field any of those punts. We were giving up 10, 12, 14 yards on a roll, so we're giving up a first down or more on the roll. Well, those 12 yards are important. We need to come up and catch that ball, and then we've got better field position. So. We've got the skill guys in our return department, punt return and kickoff return. we've got the skill guys that could take one to the house too, just like Piedmont did against us, just like Welborn did against us. We've got those talents in our backfield, and they can do that. So, but the other 10 guys have got to block and create holes and things like that. So, we put a little special emphasis on special teams this week in preparing for Weaver tonight. Piedmont,
just so strong and experienced on both sides of the football. Hard to compete with them. Second half, you got to get a couple of touchdowns on the board.
Yeah, we're able to score in the second half. Devontae, and it's a difference in 2 weeks. It's a difference, and it's a great. For me, it's a life lesson opportunity because we talk about adversity. You go from a week where Devontae's 15 of 22 and throws for 230 yards and
player of the week
and all that other stuff, and then you come to the next week, 7 days later, and he completes. I think he was like 4 of 12 and had a touchdown to DeLeon Welch, and but still a rough night for him. And he was getting banged up pretty good, and it's just the difference in 2 weeks, and it shows adversity. It's life lessons for these kids, and it's an opportunity to show them, hey, this is real life stuff. So, but yeah, we were able to score, late in the game. We had John Murphy score for us on inside zone, and we started working a lot of kids in and seeing what kids could do, and we had some kids that were banged up too, so we moved them out and let them get some rest.
Yeah. This week, BB Comer on the road to Weaver, and Weaver hasn't won a game this year.
Right. Weaver's 0-8. They've got a new coach and new coaching staff there, and they're going through some growing pains, and he's Coach Taylor's putting his stamp on things, and he's doing the right things and doing a good job, but they're going through some things right now, and I know just from last year seeing Weaver when they came in, and seeing knowing what they've lost, and even what they still have. They have some athletes, they just don't have what they had last year. And he's got some guys coming up, but he's in a situation where we are. He's playing a lot of young guys. He's dressing 15, 7th, 8th, and 9th graders on his team, and then the rest of his team is mixed in with 10 through 12. So, they are 0-8. Glencoe beat them last week 27-6, and for me, 0-8, that just means that they have nothing to lose. They can throw everything out at you, and they can throw the kitchen sink at you, and
you don't want to be that team that gives them any confidence that they can build on.
No doubt. We don't want to be that team that goes in and overlooks them, and all of a sudden gets beat off a trick play or gets beat off an onside kick or a fake punt or anything like that. So we've talked to the guys about that. We've kind of thrown some trick plays at them to make sure they're ready for some stuff. We've thrown some onside kicks at them and some fake punts and things like that. So, we've prepared them. I think humility is a great thing. Sometimes I think we're very humble from last week. Even from my standpoint down, we're humbled by what happened last week. At the end of the day, my name's at the top of this program, and we didn't perform last week, and we didn't play the brand of football that we've brought in and that we're trying to build, and that was, that ultimately that's on me, and I plan on, we regrouped and got it back together, and I think we're ready to go.
Some people have said this week that BB Comer kind of knew that this was going to be a difficult week, and let's just get this done and head to the next game. Would that be accurate?
We felt good about our game plan going into it. We respected Piedmont, but as far as a fear of Piedmont, no. And I think that, ultimately, I think that stuff like that does get into our kids' heads, and when our guys leave practice and go home, we have no control over what they hear and things like that. So I'm sure that they have heard it. unfortunately, our guys have heard negative for a long time about Comer
Sure.
and stuff like that. You know,
Is that hard to overcome?
it's tough. You know, it's
I guess winning will do it, though.
winning fixes everything, but it's tough to overcome because we got a group of guys that are busting their tails. You know, and it's for every year now somebody has drove by the practice field. We practice on the baseball field. And you'll hear somebody will drive by in a loud vehicle, and you'll hear them yell out the window, "Comer sucks" or whatever, you know. And our guys are like, you know, what the heck? So, just stuff like that. You know, they've endured a lot. So, you know, for us to be sitting where we are, you know, if somebody moved in and had never been here before, and they're watching the show for the first time, and they're like, man, they're interviewing this guy, and they're 3-5, and like he's talking good about his program, that doesn't make sense. But for us to be 3-5 and where we're at, and the possibility to finish 5-5, and a possibility to be a 4 seed in the playoffs, coming out of the region that we're coming from, and things like that, you know, you're talking about giant leaps for a program in 2 years.
Sure.
You're talking about big leaps, and it has to do with player buy-in. It has to do with assistant coaches doing what they're supposed to do, and everybody just kind of pulling on the rope in the same direction. And that's what we've got right now. We've got a good thing going. We've got a good energy going, and you know, for us to be in the situation we're in, we're very fortunate to be in this situation, and we're going to capitalize on our opportunities. And every day it's control what you can control. We can control what happens at Weaver. We can't control what happens at Randolph County. We can control what happens at Weaver. If we take care of business, then after the game, we'll figure out what happened in Randolph County, and we'll go from there. So,
you had a guy that was hurt going into the season who was an integral part of your football program. Where is he, and how has he been still an influence with your team?
So he's back with us. He's back on the field. He played his first game back was Pleasant Valley, and
You really weren't expecting him back, were you?
Yeah, I was not expecting him back at all. You know, and Ward Rush is one of those kids that he's just tough. I mean, he's an old school type player trapped in a young kid's body. I mean, he's very hard nosed, very very tough kid physically and mentally, and so he was out. He said it. You know, he was out. He was rehabbing. He was doing therapy. And I honestly didn't think that he would be back for the season, you know, and I just didn't, you know, I didn't want to close that door of hope for him, but I honestly didn't think he would be back. And he bebops in one day with a sheet that says he's cleared to play, and I'm like, you know, there's no way. So we immediately get him acclimated and get him in
and he wasn't far behind, you know.
No, he wasn't far behind, and he would. You know, during practices, he would be at practices. He would run when we ran and stuff like that. So, you know, he was non-contact, but he was cleared to run. So he tried to, you know, stay in shape as best he could. And he's packed on a few pounds, but he tells me every day, I'm losing some weight. I'm good. So, but he's done a good job for us against Pleasant Valley. He wore a lineman number and played a little bit of guard for us, and played some defensive end, and then. Last week he played linebacker and fullback for us. He lines up at tight end a little bit for us, and this week he'll be at fullback some and linebacker. So he's very a very important piece to our puzzle, and he's, you know, even though he hasn't played and he's kind of getting into football shape, he's got a little bit fresher legs than those other guys out there that have been playing for 9 weeks. Yeah. So he has a little bit more energy, and that helps those other guys kind of develop some
B.B.
energy.
Comer on the road to take on Weaver tonight. Weaver 0-8 on the season. B.B. Comer 3-5. And kind of setting the table a little bit. Not only are you the head football coach, but you're the athletic director there. Sir. And there's, you know, volleyball stuff, basketball picking up. So it's a busy time.
Right. It's a busy time. Basketball is getting ready to be underway, so we're getting ready to get all that started and get, you know, the athletic director part of it is paperwork and eligibility and making sure they're all lined up with C2C, which is the state website, and things like that. So getting all that done and getting football done is quite hectic at times. But we'll get it done, and we'll have basketball underway starting in November.
All right. Coach Adam Fossett, the head football coach and athletic director at BB Comer, our guest this morning, brought to you by the BB Comer All Sports Booster Club. And we look forward to a big win tonight up in Weaver, and we'll talk again next week, Coach.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
More Daybreak right after this.